He looked good. He did what he had to do against
a top-level opponent.
Shut the fuck up.
Robert Garcia, the trainer of Vergil Ortiz, has some things to say about Jaron "Bout" Ennis and his fight with Weissman Lima.
Smash the like button.
And as we know, Jaron "Bout" Ennis, after his impressive first-round stoppage over Lima, now he's moving on to bigger and better things. Of course, Baccaram is a fight that we've been talking about quite a bit, and a fight where I think personally should be the next move if Vergil Ortiz doesn't or isn't willing to get in the ring with Jaron "Bout" Ennis right away. But Robert Garcia had this to say.
He looked good. He did what he had to do against
a top-level opponent.
Shut the fuck up with us. He did what he had to do against that type of guys, you know.
But Eddie Hearn said, "Oh, he destroys Vergil."
Eddie did. Look, did you see Boots right next to Eddie? Right next to Eddie? Like, shut the fuck up. Don't say too much, man. Like, give me one more fight. I need one more. Right? You could tell right away. He wants two tune-up fights. This was the first one. Next one, he's gonna get 2 or 3 more rounds. You know, that's what he wants. He just fought. We're just fighting in 4 weeks. So sometime next year, the fight should happen. It has to happen. That's a fight that. Tell me, Vergil's gonna try to say, "Oh, I'm not ready for it." Vergil wants to fight everybody, man.
Vergil told me that twice they asked for that fight and twice they were turned down. Correct?
Well, they offered it twice.
And you said yes.
We had to, yeah.
And they said
we had
no.
to because it's fucking big money. It's big money.
Right. Look, they both hold interim titles, you know, WBA and WBC. But they don't have to have any of the main to make it the biggest fight in the division. That's the biggest fight in the division.
Tank and Ryan was for Nobel, who was a major fight.
That's the biggest fight in the division. Both, it would do really good numbers on pay-per-view because they should put it on pay-per-view. I think it would do really good numbers on pay-per-view, and the gate would be.
But if they.
After hearing what he had to say, he had a lot of jokes about Jaron "Bout" Ennis' opponent selection in Lima, right? But he also mentioned that the fight should happen, that the fight needs to happen, that they don't need major world titles in order for this fight to happen. This now is being built up as a pretty much a big fight in boxing, right? But when we compare the two fighters, right, forget all the politics and the promoters and the trainers. When we listen to the fighters, Jaron "Bout" Ennis seems a lot more confident than Vergil Ortiz Jr.
I want next, and or the winner of him and Lubin, or any of the guys in the champion with the belts. You know, I'm here I'm on tour, so I'm ready to collect these belts and shut everybody up.
Vergil, the name that you want first, sir?
For sure.
How does that fight go?
However I want it, like I always say. Wherever I want. However I want
like that?
Possibly. You know, Vergil, a great fighter. You know, got good skills and got a good jab, bring pressure. You know, but like I said, I'm glad to be at 154, and I feel way better. And they're gonna see. You know.
With Bout Ennis going pretty soon, and then you'll be following. Do you think that maybe with the involvement of Turki Al-Sheikh that could be a fight that we would see next in your career?
Absolutely.
If you get victory?
That's a great fight that could happen, and I mean I want it to happen. That's a fight that I think that needs an answer because everyone's been. I mean, even I've been wondering. Let's see what happens in that fight. 147, now 147, 154, and I'm excited to be a part of big fights like that everyone wants to watch. So it's a yes for me.
Yeah. That's an interesting admission. So I mean, like, kind of going into the fight, do you go into it saying, I know I can defeat this guy, or I'm maybe even uncertain about the outcome and I want to see the way it plays out?
I'm always confident in my abilities, in my IQ, and in my toughness. I'm gonna be honest, I don't go into any fight thinking I'm gonna win.
Okay.
And not in a bad way. If I know I'm gonna win, then I think I got this. You can't go into a fight thinking like that. You know what I mean?
And when you hear the two comparison of the fighter's mentality going into this potential matchup, Jaron "Bout" Ennis says, I'm going to win. Vergil Ortiz says, I don't never know if I'm going to win. All this stuff, right? That can mean everything or that can mean nothing. But I do know this is a big fight, but Vergil Ortiz has to get past Erickson Lubin first. Of course, we got guys like Keith Thurman who had things to say.
I mean, it's easy to say after a first round knockout with somebody that you picked when you told the whole world, I want a tune up. Like, don't knock out your tune up opponents and say you're the best fighter in the world. Like, calm down, you know? But it's okay. Turn up, calm down. But turn up, but calm down. Okay, but I don't know. Do what you want to do, baby. You know what I'm saying? You know, Eddie Hearns is a great promoter. You know, he backs his fighters. I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate a promoter who really backs their fighters. You know, we've seen worse in boxing. Okay, people, we've seen worse. Okay, a lot of people love Boots Ennis. Boots Ennis is a terrific talent in the sport of boxing. You know, so is he the best, the biggest dominating factor at 154? Only time will tell. You just got here, kid. I just got here too. We all kind of just got here, you know. So, you know, but with his skill set, he's been a big threat for a long time, you know. I think he was there any what was the, I forget the old matchups that I liked, but I don't even know who he just fought. Like, I don't even know who that guy's resume was. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's you know, it's a promoter's job to promote a fight, to make a fight, to hype a fight, you know. So to me, you just fought somebody who looks big and bad, and you made him ultra sad, you know. Congratulations, you know.
And you know, a lot of guys isn't really too fond of that opponent, right? A lot of people that's in boxing, not just the fans, but in boxing, looking at that opponent like, bro, what are you celebrating for? That was like nothing. You know what I'm saying? You heard Eric Salubin come out and say, man, that dude wasn't shit.
Boots is he's a great fighter. I enjoyed watching the fight last night. He got rid of that dude in just one round, which is impressive. But that dude won shit. Like, you know, Boots after the fight, you know, he had a lot to say about the whole division. He want to fight this person. He want to fight that person. He want to fight Bakram. He want to fight Fundora. He want to fight Vergil. He want to fight me. He want to fight Charlo. But why the fuck did you just fight Lima then? Feel me? Like, fight, like, out the gate. Come out the gate fighting one of these dudes. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been more respectable in my opinion. You know.
This is the energy from his peers, right? His fellow fighters, the trainers, the people that's involved in the sport of boxing. This is what they are saying, right? They don't respect that opponent. They respect Boots Ennis. They think he's talented. Everybody says he's talented, but they don't respect that opposition. You know, they think he's a tune-up, you know, taking tune-ups and all this other stuff, right? Boots Ennis got to destroy these narratives. And I already told you guys the way that he could do that right away is to fight Bakram, get the IBF belt. Dangerous fight. I don't know if Eddie Hearns is going to be willing to put Boots Ennis in there with Bakram right away. I'm not sure. Especially when there's a potential Vergil Ortiz fight on the table. A more lucrative, bigger fight in the sport of boxing. So which move should he take, right? Because if he beats Vergil, there's no world titles on the line, but that's the kind of fight that was been built up between these two guys. That's the big money fight for these guys. Ever since 147 pounds, they've been kind of circling around each other. Now they're at 154 pounds. They got to stop circling around each other. But with no major titles on the line or anything like that, will this fight be as big as it could be? Because you know, in boxing, when we have big fights, usually, unless it's a Tank Davis shit show or whatever, usually it's some major world titles on the line to kind of add to it, right? To make it more appealing. Champions, all these belts on the banners, and the fighters coming out with all these belts, that kind of add more appeal to it to make it even a bigger fight, especially to the casual audience. Us hardcore fans, we know what it is, right? You know, that stuff doesn't really matter. But aesthetically, visually, for the casual fans and to selling purposes, for promotional purposes, it makes it look better when fighters got all the belts and they kind of unify, right? Unification bout on the banner for the title and everything like that. That makes it a little bit more appealing, right? But will the fight still be as big with them just going into him as interim champions. Vergil's the WBC interim. Jaron Boots Ennis is WBA interim. We have an interim unification fight. I don't know, right? But Jaron Boots Ennis, man, he's still receiving a lot of criticism. I mean, some fans think that Shakur Stevenson's most recent statement, I did a video on it earlier, was a sneak diss towards Jaron Ennis. I don't necessarily think it was, but I think that's him telling fans, like, look, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be taking tune-ups. I'm not going to be, no, I'm going right into the fire. Now, it did sound like it was somewhat of a sneak diss, but when asked about Jaron Boots Ennis, Shakur Stevenson, that's his boy, right? So it could be spun into a sneak diss, and it could, you know, that could start a whole wildfire, but I don't necessarily believe that was the case. But Jaron Boots Ennis got to change the narrative, man. He got to change the narrative. The guys at 154 ain't really intimidated by the performance over Lima. They just not. A lot of guys had other things going on. A lot of guys claim that they didn't get the offer, right? So we're going to see what happens. I do believe that Jaron Boots Ennis is more confident in beating Vergil than Vergil is in beating Jaron. I do believe that. Now we're going to see what happens. Robert Garcia had a lot to say, right? But we're going to see if he go have his fight prepared, not only to get past Erickson to Hammer Lubin, which is a tough fight within itself, right? And we must not overlook the Hammer because, like I said before, he grew up in the darkness. He grew up on Murderer's Row, which is 154. So we must put some respect on Lubin's name. That's a tough fight, and Vergil may not even get through that one. And if he do get through it, he may not get through it unscathed. I tell you that. And you must question after the fight, if he don't get through it smoothly, how would his confidence be? Will he call out Jaron Boots Ennis? Because that's what people are going to be expecting when he's standing in the middle of that ring, if he's victorious against Erickson and Hammer Lubin. Will he call out Jaron Boots Ennis like Jaron Boots Ennis called out him? Will he say something like, well, I want Jaron Boots Ennis next. That's the fight I want next. Whether his eyes black or not, whatever the case may be, he's still calling out Jaron Boots Ennis. Because let's be honest, some fans could take damage in fights and still get praise, and fans will overlook it. Other fighters, you can't get hit with a jab. You already know what I'm talking about. So it may not even matter, but it's a confidence thing within for him. Will he be confident knowing that, oh, well, man, I barely got past Lubin. I don't know if I could beat Boots. Right? We've seen it many times before when these fighters get on the post-fight reaction, have a bad night, and they don't seem as confident as they were prior to coming out that night. So we're going to see after that fight. But Jaron Boots Ennis, Vergil Ortiz Jr. is a fight that must happen, right? And if it don't happen, I say Jaron Boots Ennis should go out to Baccaram and then get a belt there. Then if anybody wants to see or become a champion or unified, you have to see me. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. Jaron Boots Ennis, Vergil Ortiz Jr. Who is more confident going into that potential matchup? Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.